Hi, I'm Rachel Abbasi. Welcome to the Recovery Daily Podcast. As always, thanks for spending time with me. Hi, happy Tuesday. Today I want to talk about gratitude as action. I kept hearing in my AA meeting yesterday, gratitude is action. Gratitude is an action word. And I was like, huh? I was like, are we just like saying a bunch of bullshit or like what tell me more. Like I didn't hear anything more other than it's action. And so I thought I need to talk about that. How is gratitude action? And there were a couple shares that spoke to me that helped me understand what I kept hearing by gratitude is action. So I figured I'd just talk about it and see what comes out. So gratitude, I talk about gratitude a lot. I think gratitude is so underrated. It has been throughout my life. I always felt like I was grateful, I felt like I was appreciative of the things that I have. Um, However, as I've been in recovery and for I'm not going to say it yet, for 9.5 years, I have an anniversary coming up soon, but being in recovery for almost a decade and then having a stroke and surviving and living with a disability now and figuring out how to focus on possibilities instead of limitations. That's what I talked about yesterday. It has given me a whole new perspective on gratitude, and I have been grateful that I was trained, or I shouldn't say in past tense, but my training began to build that mental habit of gratitude. And the way that I started doing that, it took me a while to listen to my sponsor and build a routine around it. But sending three gratefuls is what I call them, three gratefuls to my sponsor every day. And it took me a few years to get into that habit. But once I did it for a few years. I sent until my stroke. So I probably did it for 3 years. Sent every single day, sent a grateful to my sponsor. If I didn't send it to my sponsor, I was always sending it to my sponsees because I wanted to encourage them to do it, to send it back. It, I believe that now, looking back in retrospect, I believe that that habit built this skill in me to automatically, my brain will scan for strengths and positive resources and connection. It supported me looking for possibilities instead of limitations. And when something big happened, my stroke, it wasn't automatic. I'm not going to lie. It was not automatic for me to be like, okay, you can't tolerate all of these things with your eyeballs now, but that's okay. All of this other stuff is possible. It was not like that. And those of you who have been listening since the beginning know that it has been an incredible mental struggle for me to be able to, on a daily basis, shift my mindset from looking at what I can't do to what I can do, focusing on strengths instead of deficits. So, three gratefuls daily was really helpful. And when I say that, sometimes I would receive gratefuls back from somebody in my program, whether it was my sponsor or a sponsee, somebody that was responding with gratefuls, I would get back some pretty generic stuff, which is fine, things like, I'm grateful that it's sunny today. I'm grateful that I get to exercise after work. And sometimes I would get a list of like 7 things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for my kids, food, sunshine, and it made me feel like that person wasn't pausing to truly think about what am I grateful for and how does it impact my life? And that's what I mean when I say sending 3 gratefuls to somebody per day. What I mean is stopping and thinking about what is impacting my life today in a positive way, and then vocalizing, I'm grateful for that thing. So tying each one to real experience from that day. That has always been important to me. Um, this act of gratitude, I said it, this act of gratitude, it is an action. Look, it's happening. We're figuring it out as we walk through the episode. So this act of gratitude is I don't know, I was going to say a conscious effort, but maybe it's like subconsciously reduces the need to control. I don't think that we can be grateful and want to control at the same time. Be grateful that something is a gift and then want to control that gift at the same time. I don't know that that's possible. Maybe it is. If it is, I've done it. um, but gratitude helps me to to internalize that I don't have to know it all. I don't have to be control of everything. That there is no hierarchy as a human among human beings. Like we all are participating and we all have something to offer each other. I heard something funny last night. I heard somebody say, I'm a lunchbox without my thermos. And for some reason that just made me chuckle. But what it made me think of is I just show up and bring what I have. I don't have to be everything to everyone. I don't have to have the answers for everyone around me. For example, if someone is thirsty, I may not have a drink for them, you know, but I may have something else to offer. That's what that meant to me. I don't know what he was actually saying. I'm a lunchbox without my thermos, but for me, that's where my mind was as we were talking about gratitude. And I think that recovery communities function so much better because each person does contribute differently. Each person in recovery brings something different to the table. And when we do, and we all sit down, we share the power from all being there together. We share the experience together. And then in turn, we have shared growth. So that connection is something that I had no clue existed for me before I got sober. And I really, as much as I appreciated it when I got sober, I think that I reached an entirely new level of gratitude for connection when I had my stroke. And again, it didn't happen immediately. Like I had to go through 2 years of denial that my stroke changed my life before I was willing to accept that it did, accept that I had a disability, which uh, accepting that I have a disability was kind of hard when no doctors were telling me that I had a disability. I didn't know what was wrong with me. So, that being said, once I got through that experience and I started to feel this acceptance that my stroke actually damaged my brain forever, forever. And it's hard because I don't have any visual on that damage in my brain. My only experience knowing that it's broken in there is how I use my eyes. And sometimes that disconnection I feel when I'm trying to talk about things that I'm thinking of. It's funny because I was listening back to my presentation yesterday that I recorded for you all, and I was thinking, I really don't sound like there's anything wrong with me, but I know that I'm talking more thoughtfully, and half of it is because I want to make sure that I'm capturing the experience accurately that I'm having, but also and articulate it. Um, but another reason why I talk slowly is because it takes longer for me to find the words, for me to put the sentences together. And I practice it every day. So I've come a really long way. But anyway, I I totally strayed from what I was talking about. Anyway, let's see. Where was I? Where was I? I totally lost my train of thought. That's what happens. So, gratitude, connection. What I've learned in after accepting the stroke that my life changed forever, then finally inviting someone into my hard moments. Um, Other people offered to walk beside me and offer me support. And that mutuality on the walk inspired me to recover better, to recover together. Because when I'm recovering for not just me, if you can see Autumn, oh my goodness, she's barely on this chair with me, but she decided to lay down. Okay, you're a good girl. You're a good girl. Okay, if you're not looking at the video, you need to go back and take a look at the video. Okay, so I think that recovering with somebody inspires me to recover better. That's why I'm here. I always talk about like, why am I doing this podcast? These are reasons why. I think it's important to talk about that. Why do I do this every day? Um, why do people show up and listen to me every day? Because we are recovering together. And we are all, I don't care who you are in this universe, you are recovering from something in the world. So I have a guest that is coming on the show. Let's see. I'm interviewing her tomorrow night. So I will probably put that one live on Thursday. But she is a peer recovery specialist that was in my class with me. And she has agreed to play the role of my supervisor for my podcast. And what that means is every week we get to get on the line with each other and talk about the topics in the podcast. And she is nice enough to listen to my podcast. And she's so bubbly and so funny. And I just was immediately drawn to her in my class. And I was just so grateful that and humbled that she's willing to spend her time helping me so that eventually I can get certified as a peer recovery specialist. That's my goal. Why do I have that goal? I was talking to my psychiatrist about that. Because I'm always shooting for something. That's why, because I want to be able to ensure what I talk about on the podcast is truly aligned with the principles of peer recovery, like the guidelines. I want to make sure that I do have appropriate guardrails in place so that I can advocate for mental health. I can share about my experiences. I can support others and I can build something useful here. And so, why am I talking that as it is related to gratitude? Because one thing that I heard last night was gratitude is demonstrated through the use of my gifts. So gratitude becomes action because that's our topic, right? Gratitude becomes action when it is expressed by using the gifts that I am grateful for. Does that make sense? I know it makes sense because I built the sentence all by myself. But using our gifts visibly helps others see what's possible. That's amazing. I love that idea that I took home from my meeting last night. That hope is transmitted through example. So that is where the gratitude is action. That's where it makes sense for me. So gratitude like shifts towards this idea of contribution. It's giving. Gratitude is giving. So what I do when I'm sending my three gratefuls every day is what have I received today? What are three gifts I've received today? But what I can do with that is say then as a follow-up, what can I offer today? What support and gifts can I provide today using the gifts that I've been given? I think that that is a really cool idea. And it comes back to that everyone has value. Everyone has something to contribute, even the small acts. So, one thing that I'm doing today to give my gratitude is becoming action today, in that I have been really grateful that for my body. Okay, this is for those of you who have been listening for a while. It has become part of my prayers at night. I'm grateful for my body, and that's because having had a stroke, I may have a disability in my brain, like that's associated with my eyes, but I still have my ability to walk. I still have my ability to use my hands, my arms, my all my limbs. I have my ability to speak. These are the gifts I feel that I've been given today. And because of that, I'm creating, you guys know I love crafts. Today I'm making some homemade cards for a couple of my friends who have had babies, and they're super freaking adorable. So I will post a picture of them on Facebook after I mail them to their recipients because I don't want the recipients to see the card before they get it in the mail. Anyway, that is a gift that I'm going to give today. So I'm grateful that I have been given the gift of creativity. I am grateful that I have the use of my hands still. And so those are examples of how I can be grateful for gifts that I've been given, and then I can transfer them into a contribution, a gift that I'm giving to somebody else. So this is like practical resilience. This is structured attention to what's going on between my ears. And good recovery is built through repeated practice. That's something that I have absolutely learned in sobriety, and I continue to learn it every day. That when I show up consistently and I practice my gratefuls every day. And I do things like show up to my support groups and so on. These help me recover better. And they always include another person. I show up here, and that includes you. I show up to my sobriety meetings, and that includes my peer recovering alcoholics. I show up to my vestibular support group, which is at 3 o'clock today, and that includes them. So it seems that for me, one of the gifts, again, that I have received is connection. But I need to do the work to show up. I need to use my gifts. I need to walk alongside others. I need to participate. And that is sustainable recovery for me. So, that's what I've got for you today. Thank you so much for listening. And if you will, just go down below and click like or leave me a comment. Let me know that you're out there and what your thoughts are on the topic. This was a good one, don't you think? I thought it was pretty good. So let me hear from you, and I will talk to you next time.